to COVID-19. Our hearts have been pierced by a pandemic that rocked the world and exposed our mortal enemies of racism and economic disparity. You felt the sting of white supremacy, white privilege, and social injustice. It's time to heal. We know the hurt and the pain of seeing our sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, our families dying daily to police brutality with no accountability. It's time to heal. This is the season to be healed spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. There is a place for you to heal. Join the virtual encounter of Heal, Help, Empower, Anoint, and Love. Join Bishop Frank and Reid III, Supervisor Marla Reid of the 3rd Episcopal District, March the 26th through the 27th. Join us for this 2-day virtual encounter to help you heal with special guests and clinicians Dr. William Watley, Reverend Dr. Miriam Burnett, Reverend Tracy Blockman, Mr. Antoine Seawright, Reverend Jeffrey Tate, Reverend Gail Simmons, Reverend Tamika Sims, Reverend Micah Sims. It's time to heal. Prepare now to be present and to heal. All appointments to heal will be on Facebook at 3 District and YouTube, the 3rd Episcopal District of the AME Church, and the 3rd District website, www.3rddistrictame.com. We'll see you. It's time to heal. March to the 26th through the 27th. You've experienced the devastation of death, losing over 500,000 lives of loved ones to COVID-19. Our hearts have been pierced by a pandemic that rocked the world and exposed our mortal enemies of racism and economic disparity. You felt the sting of white supremacy, white privilege, and social injustice. It's time to heal. We know the hurt and the pain of seeing our sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, our families dying daily to police brutality with no accountability. It's time to heal. This is the season to be healed spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. There is a place for you to heal. Join the virtual encounter of Heal, Help, Empower, Anoint, and Love. Join Bishop Frank and Reid III, Supervisor Marla Reid of the 3rd Episcopal District, March the 26th through the 27th. Join us for this 2-day virtual encounter to help you heal with special guests and clinicians Dr. William Watley, Reverend Dr. Miriam Burnett, Reverend Tracy Blockman, Mr. Antoine Seawright, Reverend Jeffrey Tate, Reverend Gail Simmons, Reverend Tamika Sims, Reverend Micah Sims. It's time to heal. Prepare now to be present and to heal. All appointments to heal will be on Facebook at 3 District and YouTube, the 3rd Episcopal District of the AME Church, and the 3rd District website, www.3rddistrictame.com. We'll see you. It's time to heal. March to the 26th through the 27th.
Praise the Lord, everybody. This is Bishop Reid, and this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm excited about what God did for, in, and through people yesterday. The HEAL conference has been a great kingdom success already. We have had over 6,500 views on our first day. And so what God is going to do in, for, and through us today is amazing. Please get on your social media as you did yesterday and share with people that they can join us this morning. Go on your Twitter, your Facebook, your TikTok. And if you've got any accounts I don't know about and don't know because of my old age, just invite Lottie, Dottie, and everybody who wants to be healed. This is the closing day of the HEAL conference, and it is the beginning of your healing. Heal, help, empower, anoint, and activate God's love. This morning, we're going to show you a brief video about a very important case. I would like you, your church, your community, your city, state, and nation, rural area to get involved in helping set this brother free. This is a tape on Purvis Payne, who has been in jail for over 30 years because for a murder he did not commit.
Be a part of something bigger than yourself. Be a part of something bigger. Be a part of a movement. Help save a man's life. And we want to be on the right side of history. This is how it starts. Just a few people holding up a sign. Purvis Payne is on death row. Purvis Payne is on death row. He's been on death row for 33 plus years for a crime that we believe that he did not commit. Purvis Payne is on death row illegally because he has an intellectual disability. Purvis Payne is on death row, and it's not morally right, and it's just not just. So here we are, from 4 to 5 o'clock at the corner of Union and McLean, bearing witness, standing with his family, standing with him, letting him know that he is not alone. Our work is not done. So Governor Lee, we're asking you to do the next thing. We're asking you to commute the sentence. We're asking the state legislators to pass G.A. Holloway's bill. And we're asking all Memphis and all Shelby County, all of you, to come out. There are 4 corners at the corner of Union and McLean, and we want to fill all 4 corners. Our work is not done. There's still a death date hanging over Purvis Payne's head, and we want to get rid of that death date. Free Purvis Payne.
No damage to the store, no damage to people, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison and is serving that now. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, Dr. King said.
This ain't no sound. Tell me 1 minute. Tell me 1 minute.
Hold on. Okay. Do I have to start over?
No.
And so, beloved, I'm asking that you would look into the Free Josh Williams case as well. We'll get more to you about that later. And now let's get started with our Healing Saturday. We have our morning meditation, 9:13, little overtime, 9:13 with Reverend Gail Simmons. Then we have From 9:24, we have how and when we are back worshiping in our churches. That's a Zoom meeting for the 3rd District. But those of you who are interested in this information about how to go back into your churches and when you should go back, how you should go back, you can join us, stay right here on Facebook. And then at 9:24, prescriptions for new normal, the AME General Conference update for July 2021 in Jacksonville, Florida. And after that at 12, we'll take a break. And at 12:03, we will be back for our closing service, which you do not want to miss. Bishop Reid has a powerful sermon for you. Our preacher, Reverend Gail R. Simmons, she is an ordained itinerant elder in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, pastor of Trinity AME Church in Wilberforce, Ohio, has a BS from Wilberforce and her MDiv from Payne Theological Seminary. She is not only a highly effective and efficient pastor, she is also employed as the manager of chaplains at the Southwest Care region at Ohio's Hospice, where she supervises spiritual care for over 25 chaplains. Here, Reverend Gail Simmons.
Good morning to our 3rd Episcopal District Leadership Team, Bishop Frank Madison Reid III, and our Episcopal Supervisor, Mrs. Marla Reid. To our 3rd Episcopal District Church family, I greet you in the joy of the Lord. I want to say thank you to Bishop for the opportunity to share a meditation during our mid-year convocation. Let us pray. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on me. Please let the words that flow from my mouth be a source of comfort and healing during these days. Now may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Ruth chapter 1, verses 19 through 21, you will find these words. So the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi?" "Do not call me Naomi," she told them. "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." Church, in those 3 texts, what we hear is the voice of grief. This past year, we have been under a tremendous amount of loss and grief, individually, collectively, as a country, as a nation, as a world. When we look at the loss from the pandemic, just in this country, we have lost over 500,000 people, 500,000 loved ones. And so that is what we call complicated grief, accumulative grief. And there's another grief that we as a people are also in the midst of, and that's disenfranchised grief. And that's a grief that I feel that we are experiencing because of the injustice that we are experiencing, that our brothers and our sisters and our children and our mothers and fathers are being killed. And that injustice causes a disenfranchised grief, a grief that our society may not consider valid or significant. And so we have just had layers of grief. And so for a few brief moments, I want to lift the thought of the spiritual journey with grief. Church, there are several common reactions to grief. The physical common reactions to grief is fatigue, sleep disturbance, hair loss. Emotional common reactions to grief is deep sadness, anger, anxiety, loneliness, uh, abandonment. Our cognitive common reactions to grief is a lack of focus and oftentimes thoughts of wondering, am I losing my mind? Am I going crazy? But I feel one of the most significant common reactions to grief is the spiritual reaction to grief, because the spiritual reaction to grief has the potential to cause you to call your faith into question, has the potential to cause you to experience feelings of being abandoned by God, feelings of anger with God, feelings of disconnect from God or from your faith community. It can cause feelings of brokenness and has the potential to cause us to lose hope. So if you find yourself on a spiritual journey with grief, there's three strategies that I want to lift for you, three interventions that I'm hoping you will put into practice. So the first one is to tell your story. The first one is to share the stories of your loved ones, of the ones that you have lost. Name the loss and reminisce and share the story. Find someone who will be that listening presence for you. If you are that chosen one, I'm going to ask that you don't try to fix, that you don't try to give advice, that you don't judge, that you just be that listening presence, that you help create that safe space and that sacred space. I'm asking that you will just be that witness to the suffering, because oftentimes that's what the grieving soul needs. They just simply need a witness to the suffering. Strategy 2 is express kindness. I'm amazed at the impact that expressing kindness can have on your grieving process when you find yourself on a spiritual journey with grief. We can recall the profound words of kindness and commitment that Ruth shares with Naomi. We'll find her sharing, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God, my God. Where you die, I will die. And there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. And when Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. That was a profound act of kindness that Ruth extends to Naomi. And that kindness impacts Ruth's grief, and it also impacts Naomi's grief. I can remember when I was on my spiritual journey with grief, because my father was diagnosed with gum cancer in 2008 and died. A few years later, in 2011, my niece was diagnosed with a rare childhood stomach cancer, and she died. And both of those times, I put on my pastoral hat and I put on my chaplain hat and I stuffed my grief. A few years later, in 2015, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And when she died, church, I hit a brick wall. And God was silent. And the silence was deafening to me. So I knew that it was grief. And I knew that I had to work my way through this spiritual journey with grief, because I did not want to get stuck in the midst of that wilderness season because of the profound grief and loss that I had endured. one act of kindness that made a profound impact on me on my spiritual journey with grief was when I had the opportunity to make pillowcase dresses for young girls over in Africa. I decided I was going to make them along with the church I was pastoring at that time. And the small church, we made over 100 pillowcase dresses. And I decided I was going to make those dresses in honor and remembrance of Mom. And so my prayer was each child that would put on one of those dresses would feel the presence and the love of God, but also feel the love and the honor of my mom. And so something unlocked inside when I expressed kindness in that way. The third strategy that I want to lift for you is trust God. Do not let go of God's hand on the midst of this spiritual journey. You must walk by faith and not by feelings. Spiritual discipline is a must. I can remember reading sacred texts daily, reading the word every day, whether I felt like it or not. I can remember my prayer was constant. And sometimes, church, I'll be honest, it felt like my prayers didn't even reach the ceiling, but I knew that spiritual discipline would eventually help me to reconnect back to God. Meditation, time alone to be in the presence of the Lord, and worship, whether I was at home praising the Lord or at church praising the Lord, whether I felt it or I didn't. Those spiritual disciplines, those spiritual practices were important in the process of helping me work through the spiritual journey of grief. I can remember encouraging myself, wait on the Lord, be of good courage. He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord, which is Psalms 27 and 14. I also would constantly recite Isaiah 40 and 31. But they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall not run. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Wait, I say, on the Lord. So, church, again, if you feel as though with all of the grief you've been through, if you find yourself on a spiritual journey with grief, I want you to find that listening presence that you can share your story with. I want you to engage in acts of kindness. I want you to trust God, because He, though you may not be able to feel Him right now, He is with you. He has promised us that He will never leave us nor forsake us. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer.